This is Get Sellers Calling You, and I'm Beatty Carmichael. Learn more at our website at getsellerscallingyou.com. Well, hi, I'm Beatty Carmichael, and welcome to another session of Get Sellers Calling You, real estate podcast. And I'm excited today because I get to interview just an amazing friend of mine, a friend who's been with a friend since 2012. Actually one of our very first clients, and that's Stuart Sutton out of Austin, Texas area. So Stuart, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I'm excited to have you because I used to pick your brains many years ago. If you recall, we did mastermind conference calls, and I learned more about marketing for real estate agents than I ever could have. And you've just been a wealth of knowledge there.
Well, that's very nice of you. I've learned a tremendous amount from you too.
Well, we have definitely enjoyed working together. Just kind of set the stage. I know you don't brag about yourself, so let me brag about you so people understand who it is I'm interviewing. You've been in business for a few years, is that correct?
Just started.
Just started. About how many years ago?
34.
About 34 years ago. And you are a Diamond Club member and is it Masters? What are those two levels?
Well, with RE/MAX, I've been with RE/MAX for, I just hit 7 years.
Okay.
So I do have the Lifetime Achievement Award with them. The Chairman's Club is an annual award, which means you have to make over 500,000, and the Diamond Club is the club you have to make over $1 million in a year. So yes, I've been in each of those. Very
good. And when you and I met, we the thing that impressed me so much, one of many, is at the time you were doing between 80 and 100 transactions a year, all personal production, okay?
Right.
And I asked you, well, how many hours a week do you work? And you said between 35 and 40 hours. Do you remember that?
I sure did, yes, sir.
And it blew me away that you could have that type of volume on those few hours. Right. And it's that part that I really want to talk about on this call and just understand what you do. Now, I know things have changed a little bit, so kind of give me an idea of where things are now, if you don't mind.
Well, we're just plugging away. I've narrowed down the number of transactions I do. And my goal when I came with RE/MAX was very straightforward. And that was I want to do fewer transactions, but I don't want any less income. So I had a big team, and we've done hundreds of deals and all that. And I just was changing the way that I approach the business. So I now manage each of my clients myself. Each of my team members manages each of their clients themselves. We do have staff that helps us. But I have narrowed down from doing, as you said, 80 to 100 at that time. And actually the year before I met you, I'd done 111 sales just personally. Now, when you add my team in, the volume is pretty impressive. But as a team, nobody knows what we do in the way of volume because each of my agents keeps their own, I let them keep their production for themselves. And unless you know who all my team members are and can track that, nobody really knows what our volume is except for my RE/MAX broker. Right. And the reason we do that is just, it's real simple. I've been there, done that with the big team and big volume, and I want my agents to really get all the accolades that they work so hard to get. So it's not just that, I'm selfless. I'd love to have, all that production under my name, but it's time for them to they're just so proud when they go over a certain landmark and have a certain level of production. I've got 6 agents that work for me, and 4 of them make very good incomes, very good incomes.
Well, that integrity, I have to, so for the folks listening, when we first got started, we do a unique thing with our services over at Master Grabber and identifying people who respond to a postcard. And I remember one of your friends that you helped you with marketing and been a coach, I think, for many years. He came out with something that you thought he kind of was trying to knock us off, and you got so upset with him. I mean, you were telling me you weren't talking to him on it, and I had to hold you back. But your integrity of the fact that someone would possibly take something you had shared and then turn around and use it, and try to duplicate something. I don't know if you recall that, but but when you're talking about your agents and letting them keep their own production, and so it shows off for their record and share yours. I just think that, that's what makes you so special in my eyes, is it's just that level of integrity.
Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say.
So let's talk business real quick. So you got a thriving business,
Right.
and you've got a well-honed machine in terms of how you do it. Tell me where you generate money, because I know you're talking about different income streams. So can you kind of give me a breakdown?
Right, and you're right. We've really gotten it down to I don't know if we've gotten it down to a science, but the processes that we take are consistent. It's not exciting, but consistency means a lot. And I really try to get that through to each of my agents. And we have, I say we, when I say we, I'm talking about me and my staff. And my agents really kind of try to model what I do. But I have 4 areas of income, and it all stems from marketing. I've got a farm area. I have a niche, which is an expanded farm area, meaning a specialization in a type of property. And I've got my past clients and customers, and then I've got my online marketing. So those are my 4 sources of income. And my agents really try to model that in growing their businesses, and they're doing a great job. I said 4 of the 6 had really high incomes. Well, a 5th one just hit a milestone. He did more business in the last 2 months than most agents do in a year. So
wow,
we're excited for him.
So if you were to take those 4 income streams and kind of rank them, how would you rank them from top to best production down to lowest production?
Okay, so the top 2, without question, past clients and customers, and that should be everybody's first source. But my niche is extremely lucrative. So there are years when I'll make more money from my niche than I do from my past clients and customers. Okay. So it's an area of specialization. One of my agents, for example, specializes in townhomes. Another one specializes in homes with views. I specialize in homes on an acre or more. And so the members of that particular population see me as someone who has an expertise that they need. We don't just want them to think, well, it'd be nice if we had that. We want to create a need. So because of my expertise in that arena, sellers call me, and quite often I'm the only one they talk to.
Very interesting. So talk to me in terms of what you do in marketing. If you were to, do you do something different for your personal list and your 1 acre plus? And if so, what do you do?
Yes. Well, so I'm gonna break down the niche and the farm, because really they're very similar, but the niche is just more lucrative. Unless you have a farm that has 2,500, 5,000 houses, and you can just keep growing it. But my niche, you can just keep growing. So I've got an agent in another part of town that I'm not going to drive down there, but he takes care of all the 1 acre plus clients in that part of town. So there are really 3 areas of marketing in a niche or a farm. Okay, number 1 is the general population of that niche, right? In other words, the areas that you want to work, the locations, etc. The second is what I call a targeted. And guess who needs to sell their home on acreage probably more than anybody else when that time comes? Seniors. So I target people who have an exemption of 65 or more, a tax exemption, and we market to them when they need to sell their home on acreage, give us a call. The third is expireds. Anyone whose home has expired in the last several years, but they've never listed, again, we market to very strongly, and that's a very powerful database. So those are the 3. Now, if you're talking about a farm, you have 3 different ones. You've got the general farm, then you've got the expired, same thing. And I'm going to tell you how powerful this is, Beatty, and stop me if you want me to quit rambling and you want to ask a question. But let me tell you how powerful this is. I've got a farm with 893 people in it. I have 74 people who have expired in the last 3 years and never relisted. I list more people from the group of 74 than the rest of the 893.
Really?
That's how powerful that is, yes. Because we market differently to them than we do the rest of the farm.
So like, how do you market differently? Because most of the times when you're marketing to expireds is you're on the phone and calling them as soon as they expire, and you try to drop by, and you're doing something different.
Yeah, don't need to do that with these, because here's the thing. If I'm marketing to the farm, all 893 people, all those people who expired are getting that mailing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm marketing to the 74 in addition, in sending marketing pieces that are poignant to somebody who's had their home expire. Does that make sense?
It does, but let's elaborate a little bit more, because I think this goes into, you were talking, and I'm going to connect two very divergent dots. Years back, you were doing a lot of postcard mailings, and then you understood and learned marketing, and it turned your business around. Here, you're talking about doing something different for those expireds, but I have an idea that the concept between both of these is the same concept. Can you take it?
Well, give an example. To the general farm area, I may send a marketing piece that compels a response to go to a landing page to learn about something, like my new level of service. To an expired, they're going to receive a postcard specifically about a home that says, this home was listed with another agent for 6 months, and then Stuart listed it and sold it in 8 days. So the very best marketing I can do for expired is to show them success with somebody that was in their exact situation.
Oh, that makes sense. So you're making it very specific to them.
Correct.
So you're marketing to the entire farm,
Right.
and then these that are expireds, you're sending additional marketing pieces, but I guess most of these are saying, this home was on the market for all these days or months, and then I sold it. And so they're constantly seeing that you were successful
Right.
in the same environment that they were a failure, that their previous, okay.
That's right. And then the third area of a farm is out-of-town owners. And some farms have a lot more of those, depending on the price range and all that. But so we send unique marketing pieces to people who don't live in the house they own in the farm area. So you've got the general farm population, the expireds in the farm, and the out-of-town owners in the farm. And those are three specific marketing databases.
Wow. So you're kind of, the word that comes to mind is parsing. You're really parsing that market and then very specifically targeting them for their unique needs.
Right. For example, if you owned a rent house in my farm, you'd get a mailing that said, hey, if you decide to sell your rent house in this area, you need to make sure your agent's qualified. And so if you're an out-of-town owner, you're going to receive a card that speaks to you. And I actually offer a guarantee to you, because what is the problem that out-of-town owners have? Well, they don't, their house is vacant. They don't know what's going on with it. Well, we guarantee that we're going to check it every week and send you a checklist showing, hey, all the lights are working, the doors are locking, the windows are locked, thermostat's set. We have a whole checklist. So we have a guarantee that we're going to do that for you every single week that your home is on the market with us. And if we miss any single week, we'll knock your commission down $100.
Wow. So now, as I'm listening you go through this, the thought that hits me, that may be hitting some other folks, is this is a lot of work. I mean, it's not just, go to this website up here, upload a just sold photo, send it out, and then go about your way over here. You're actually spending time creating these pieces.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, once we have a good marketing piece in place, a lot of times we can just adapt and edit and make some changes. Yes.
Okay.
But, there's a lot of work in setting up any cash flow system, any income stream. There's a lot of work in getting it set up. Maintenance becomes a different story. And that's why I can work 35 to 40 hours a week, because I'm maintaining several systems that I've had in place for years.
That makes sense. So I was going to ask you the follow-up question to that leading question. Yes, it takes a lot of work. My question was going to ask, does it make a lot of money?
Well, you know what? I'm very blessed to be one of those guys, and I decided, you remember the book that came out about how to be a millionaire in your underwear? You remember that book?
I remember something like that, yes.
And that might not be the exact title, but I'm blessed to be one of those guys that can sit at home and work, literally wearing shorts and flip-flops until it's time for an appointment. Then I'll get up and put on a suit. But yes, I can do that, and I'm very blessed to be in the position where I can work on my schedule, on my terms, and make a very nice income.
All right, so let's talk on, because I want to dig it a little bit deeper in, if you don't mind, the concept of marketing. Okay, you learned something from at one point in time that when you applied it to your existing mailings, it totally turned everything around, and that's the same stuff that you're applying right now. Can you help those who are listening to kind of understand marketing at a really simple level, so that those people who say, this is a lot of work, I don't know even where to begin, you can kind of give them a starting point? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, it does. And the overall most simple basic marketing rule there is find out what people want and need and make it easy for them to get it. And the biggest thing that anyone ever taught me, and you did meet Rand Smith, was really my marketing mentor, brilliant marketer, took all the marketing rules outside of real estate and brought them into real estate. And that's what I try to teach my agents to do. But it's very straightforward. Quit selling and start solving. So what is the problem that the consumer has, and how can you solve it? And the easiest example of that ever is Domino's Pizza. They were the first ones to guarantee delivery in a certain amount of time because they solved the problem. What were their consumers' biggest problems? Well, it didn't get there on time. By the time it got there, it was cold. And by golly, the worst thing is it got there late, it was cold, and they still had to pay for it. So what was their marketing line? It was, it's fast, it's hot, or it's free. Remember that? I do
indeed.
The same thing in real estate. You're an out-of-town owner. Your biggest problem is, hey, I don't know what's going on with my house. I don't know if, we have either myself or my assistant will check on your vacant house every single week, and we guarantee to do that. So we've solved a problem that every agent could solve, but nobody else has put it into words. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Give me a couple other examples so that those listening can kind of grasp and start to apply in their own situation where they can use it.
Okay. So what's a problem for a home seller who's just thinking about selling a home? They're not quite sure, okay, and I get this call all the time, and I'm sure a lot of other agents do as well. And that's, well, what do we do to get our house ready? Where should we spend our time and money? Well, we have a program where we actually provide a stager, an inspector, a handyman, a painter, a window washer at our expense to get your home ready for the market. So now instead of, well, what do we do? What do we do? How do we do it? Who do we call? What's it going to cost? We've solved that for you. So instead of just selling, we're solving. So the more problems we can solve for you, the more chance you're going to hire us.
Very interesting. What are some other examples that you can give me?
Well, I've just had one situation where this house had been on the market for, and this was the most recent, that's why I'm bringing it up, for nearly a year with 3 other agents. They called us, obviously off one of our marketing pieces. I went out, and the house was vacant. Carpet in the master was wavy. I just paid a carpet stretcher to come in and stretch it, paid carpet cleaners to clean it. The patio was extended, very nice, big, but it was all stained. I had a handyman coming in, power wash it. Had a crew come in and deep clean the house because, it was vacant and kind of, you start to see bugs and cough. And other agents had this home on the market in this condition. We sold it in 16 days. So basically what we're doing is stepping in. That owner's out of town. You know how hard it is to coordinate that type of thing and get people there and know it's done and make sure they're paid. We took care of all that. We paid them, we coordinated them, we scheduled them, we put the house in condition to sell.
That's neat. So if you take all the things you do in terms of marketing, what some people running Facebook ads and some people running they're doing email blasts and all kinds of things. When you say marketing, are you talking about all these things, or are you talking about something down this channel? Or
that includes all those as well as postcards and mailings. I still believe very strongly in mailings, and a lot of my income comes from mailings. And I just got a mailing. I don't know if you want me to take the time and all that, but literally a couple months ago from a little company that made me feel like mailings work because Google sent me a postcard.
Wow, that's
They sent me
great.
a postcard trying to get me to use Google AdWords.
I love
If
it.
Google sending postcards, I'm thinking they work.
They must. I know we send a lot of postcards and they do work. You're listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. To increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence or from a geographic farm, learn about Agent Dominator. We guarantee your sales in writing or give your money back. To learn more, visit our website at getsellerscallingyou.com and select Agent Dominator from the menu. And now, back to the podcast. So, well, let's shift gears a little bit, and I want to talk about balance in your life, because one of the things that when you and I had first started talking, you were sharing, and this is, first in 2012, 2013, you spent a lot of time with your family as a realtor, and there's a lot of struggle, especially, everyone's straight commission and fighting for the next deal. And so the idea of being available almost like 24/7, we'll ask an agent, hey, how was your weekend? And they look at me and go, what's a weekend? Okay. Talk to me in terms about how you bring balance to your life as a real estate agent.
Yeah, that's a great question. It truly is a challenge for most people in this business. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, son was getting into real estate, or is getting into real estate, and he asked if I'd have lunch with him. And they were interviewing and just having lunch with a few top agents from around our market. And they asked me, okay, so tell us about your schedule and weekends and evenings. And I said, well, I don't work weekends or evenings. And he said, really? So what about your phone? You always answer it. I said, well, if I'm with my family, I do not answer my phone, because I want my family, my kids, to know you're more important than anything else that's going on here. Now, my family understands I'm in the real estate business. So even when we're on vacation, I'll set a time of the day where I return calls. But if we're out, and they said, you know what? We just talked to another agent. She said she was in Paris, France, not Texas, on vacation with her family. She got a call. She took it. She goes, I'm in real estate. I take my call. I just feel differently about it. So I quit working Sundays many, many, many years ago. When my first son was born, I quit working Thursdays and let my wife have the whole day off, and I spent it with him, and we took that through both sons. And it's just too important. Guess what? I've never lost any business that I know of because I put my family as a priority.
Wow. So there are two things running through my mind on this. One is, what's the motivation to be that determined, that deliberate? And number two, the other thing running through my mind is the risk, because you're potentially losing business. So help me understand those two things. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm going to be kind of straightforward and blunt.
Please.
I believe that there are two words that start with F that are really, really important, and one is fear and one is faith. And I have faith that my Father in heaven is going to provide. And I don't fear that I'm not going to get business, because my faith overrides that fear. And believe me, I'm not always successful at that, because fear can certainly creep in. But this is a business where if you don't depend on faith, it's going to be a much more difficult road to hoe. So I've always depended on the fact that my Father is going to bless us, our family, and that if I go about doing my business in a way that I believe is pleasing to Him, then we're not going to have that fear.
That makes a lot of sense. We do a lot that sells on our own, as you know. Talk to me a little bit more then about your faith and really kind of how it drives your business, or maybe how your faith drives you in your business. Can you kind of talk a little bit more on that?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It's the real estate business is a challenging one, and I really preach to my agents that faith is really, really important, as far as, hey, if you do what you're supposed to do, you can't be afraid that you're going to fail at it. So that step-by-step faith over fear is something that we're always working on. But the way we handle our business is not, I know this is going to sound trite, but it's not money driven. Do I have financial goals? Absolutely. Do I have financial obligations? Absolutely. But I've got a sign on my wall over here that says the more you serve others, the more successful you will be. And I just believe that in my heart. So we treat each situation in a unique way that has to do with that client. And we don't ever, my team and I, for example, we collect money, we contribute our own money to make house payments for people in need. You know, a lot of people, you know, hit a time in their lives when they need a helping hand. And we've had many people want to give publicity to us for that. And we've always refused. That's just a part of something we feel like we should do. So as a team, we call it our house payment program. Once in a while, I'll have someone ask me to come do some training for them. What do you charge? And I'll say, I'll tell you what, instead of me charging a fee, you and your office contribute to our house payment program. And then I'll give them a little pitch about what it is and tell them about some of the people that we've helped. We helped a fireman year before last who had a devastating accident and couldn't work for some time. And yes, he had some income come in from, you know, disability and all that, but it didn't really cover all their bills. So we helped make their house payments. We had a family, grandparents who lost their children in a car wreck and took in their 5 grandchildren. And you talk about financial struggles, we stepped in and helped them make house payments. So those are the kind of things that we feel like are part of what we need to be doing as, you know, as part of our business.
That's really neat. You know, the whole idea of trusting and giving it resonates really with me a lot because, you know, our business over the years, we've been in business for 22 years, I think it is now. And we've seen some highs and we've seen some lows. And even in the lows, I'll tell you the story because this is years back, so I can't take really any credit. But we, at that time, we gave a real high percentage of every profit, every dollar we made, whatever I took out and whatever the company made as profit. And every month we would give it into ministry.
Right.
And we had this client that was 70% of our volume and about 100 and some odd percent of our profits. And they were scheduled to leave about 3 or 4 months from now. It was a term contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept giving and, you know, storing nothing up. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's another Christian businessman, and his name is Bill. And he says, Beatty, I believe in trusting God, but I've never put myself in a position where I had to. And, but you know, this whole lifestyle of you taking the day off or doing these things, you know, helping other people out, and just really trusting your fate up to your faith in the Lord. I just think it's freeing, isn't it?
It makes all the difference. It makes doing this business a pleasure. It really does. And not being tied to that commission is everything. And I may have shared this one with you. I had a client, and I've had this happen several times over the years. But one I think I shared with you, I had a client that the commission on their house was just shy of $14,000, like $13,900. Okay, and they were having some difficult financial struggles. And when we got to the closing, after their escrow, because yes, we should know the payoff, and they told me what the payoff was, and when it got to it, they did not share with me that they were behind in payments. So after paying off their loan, there was $1,327 left. Now, if they'd have paid my commission, they'd have had to come out of pocket $12,000 plus. They didn't have it. So I said, we're fine. You know, I'm not depending on this commission, you know, to make my house payment. And I believe that you guys can go ahead and close. I believe that you should have this burden lifted from you. And you know, if I can ever help you again, I'm here to help. And I can tell you, a lot of people would think that you gave up 12 grand. I didn't give up 12 grand. I didn't have 12 grand. I helped somebody in a situation, and I came out, 13 bucks a head, $1,300 a head, and they still refer me business to this day. So that's just the way I approach each of those commissions. It's not money driven, it's people driven. And again, do I fall short of that? Of course I do. But it's nice to step back and I pray every single day that God will put people in my path that I can serve on His behalf.
Do you do anything else with your faith in how you engage with clients on an ongoing basis? I know, like when we bought our house, our realtor, a really super lady, loves the Lord. And so, we're at the kitchen table of the house that we now own and filling out the offer. And so she said, "Hey, let's just pray over this." And I'm thinking, what a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
Do you live it out in any way like that strategically?
Yes, I've prayed with many clients over the years. And I do have, I call it my pre-listing package, which I send out to every single seller. And it has a page in it that basically espouses my faith and lets them know that we depend on God for all of our blessings and we put Him first. And that's in every marketing package that we send out.
I love that. So you obviously don't subscribe to the idea that you have your faith here and you have your work here and they need to be separated, right?
I'm not sure that's possible.
I don't think it is. One last question, just as we're on this topic, and you may not have anything, or you may not have anything that you care to share, but a lot of times, as a realtor, or even just as a husband and a father, you go through struggles, and there are times when you just you fall on your knees, and the Lord just really carries you through. Is there anything that stands out that you would like to share in terms of the impact of your relationship with Christ as you go through struggles?
Absolutely, no question that He has brought us through many difficult times. I still remember many years ago when we were in danger of not being able to make our house payments. This was before we even had kids. And not to say that it's been a cakewalk since then, because it hadn't. But I still remember Rebecca and I bless her. She is the most incredible prayer warrior. But I still remember sitting at a table, approaching midnight, praying about whether we should get out and try to find, less, smaller house and find a way to move bills aside and find a way to do all that. So as we prayed through that and continued to over time, we just felt we knew what He wanted, and so we continued on the path that we were on, and we're just blessed with the relief of that burden. I still remember back then going, you know what? I don't know anybody that does this much business in real estate, but I truly. And again, it's not one of those, oh, well, if you believe in God and tithe, He'll bless you and give you a lot of money. That's not what it was at all. We went and looked at smaller houses, and we went and looked at, different ways to lower our lifestyle. We weren't leading an extravagant lifestyle by any means, but we just I've been in some tough real estate markets. When interest rates were 18%, I've been in 3 crashes over my career. But we just felt truly comfortable that we should, stay on the path that we were on. So we did. He blessed us. My business flourished in a time when you would never expect it. And a couple of years after that, we had kids and, just moved on down that line. But one of the best things that I ever remember is I ask my kids questions all the time. Somebody go, "Come on, Dad." But I said, if you were to say one thing about your mom and your dad that you remembered us for, what would that be? And I shared what I remember my parents for. And the thing that I'm really just overwhelmingly touched by is one of my sons said, he said, You know what? You have an incredible work ethic, but you do it for a reason. And that reason is your family and God. If that's the way he remembers me, you know, I'll be very happy.
What a legacy. What a legacy on that. That's great. You know, our children, they pick up more from what we do than what we say.
Yeah.
Let's talk on one more thing, if you don't mind. Y'all been married for how long?
33 years.
33 years. And if I'm approaching an area, let me know and we can edit this part out. But I want to talk in terms of a marriage that's founded on Christ.
Yeah.
And can you talk anything on that? And, you know, how's your relationship and what do you consider kind of the core reasons for the relationship being as it is?
Wow, you are getting deep. You know, it's incredibly comforting to know that my wife's faith is so strong, and that she doesn't necessarily depend on me for her happiness and gratification. She depends on you know, our Lord. And the same with me. We both know that our marriage is I mean, it's wonderful. Now, have we had some tough times? Yeah, absolutely. I don't guess I really know of anybody who hadn't. But you know, the bottom line is we both know that supporting each other based on, and our prayer is always that the decisions we make will be in our Lord's will. And that's the decisions we make for our kids. That's the decisions we make for our business. That's the decisions we make, you know, for each other. And her faithfulness over the years has just been an inspiration to me.
You know, I stepped in here without really having much knowledge, but I felt I was safe in that direction. Because I'm similar. We're married a lot fewer years. We're coming on our 26th anniversary before long. But what's really interesting is our love for each other is so much stronger today than it was years back. There's never been a time we haven't been in love,
Yeah.
but it's gotten a lot stronger. Y'all have experienced?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, no question about it. As a matter of fact, we have been talking about that recently. You know, we're empty nesters, and you know, I was afraid, how is she going to put up with me? You know, when the kids are gone. But we've just grown closer and stronger as the years go by.
You know, one of the things that someone taught me years back, he said kind of a triangle. You put God at the top, and then the two lines coming down is, you know, the husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And as each husband and wife seeks the Lord, they get closer and closer together. Is that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I attribute. And I have to tell you an interesting story. One of the members in our supper club at church is he's a pastor. He came from pastoring his own church to now being an assistant pastor at our church. And in his area of ministry as a pastor, a lot of challenges relating to divorce and moving into divorce. And I was asking him this question, because I'm using this concept, and I'm saying, has there ever been a time that you recall anyone going through the process of divorce or considering divorce where one or both of those people had been consistently seeking the Lord? And he said no.
Right.
He cannot recall. And that, I think, has been the bedrock for our relationship, as I would imagine for yours.
Very good. That's a good one. Thank you.
Well, we kind of probably need to wrap up a little bit. And we started on a real marketing side and excited. Now we're kind of mellowed down and talking about really the most important things in life. But is there anything that's been on your mind or anything you've thought about that you'd like to share before we wrap up? Anything that on any topic or anything? This is your chance to shine.
Well, I can tell you that the more people like you that I'm able to work with who have a faith and a belief like mine, the better business is. So being able to talk openly with you I don't know how much people watching this know about you, but if they've never heard you teach scripture, you're an amazing teacher. But being able to have friends, my broker, people on my team, people involved in my business, be able to pray together, be able to encourage each other, to be able to, share in challenges and in victories, and give that glory to God rather than to ourselves. And we understand that. I mean, the guy that I told you about that just had a breakthrough with an incredible couple of months, doesn't credit himself for any of it. He feels and knows that it's a blessing, and he put in the work, and God blessed him with the results. And to surround yourself with people like that really makes the real estate business a very different and more enjoyable career than if you're not.
Yes, it does. And to work with people like you, of like mind, makes my work all the more meaning. Frequently I go, what's the purpose of it? It's just money, right? Is there any eternal purpose? And the Lord keeps reminding me, yes, but you need to be a full-time minister, secretly disguised as a business owner.
Yeah, and you do a great job of that.
Well, I don't know. He's been spanking me a little bit, saying you haven't done it the way I've asked you to. So we're working on that.
Gotcha. Good.
Well, Stuart, I've really enjoyed visiting with you, and thank you for sharing your time.
You bet. My pleasure.
And for those who are listening or watching, if you like this, please subscribe and like us, and do come back as we interview more people. So, Stuart, have a great day and be blessed.
Thank you. You too.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it so you never miss another episode. And please like our Get Sellers Calling You Facebook page. Also, if you want to increase sales from past clients and sphere of influence, dominate a geographic farm, or convert home valuation leads, check out our Agent Dominator program. We create custom content that differentiates you from other realtors, then use it to keep you top of mind with your prospects with postcards, targeted Facebook ads, email campaigns, video interviews, and more. And the best part is we guarantee your sales or give all your money back. Learn more at GetSellersCallingYou.com and select Agent Dominator in the menu. Thanks for listening to the Get Sellers Calling You podcast. Have a great day.